What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today this is going to be a frustration show because I tried my best to avoid the Caitlin Clark discussion, and it's been getting out of hand. And I'm starting to get a little angered by the whole thing because everybody is pretending like, you know, like she's supposed to be getting this participation trophy. And let's be honest. So I'm going to sit up here and I'm starting to see more YouTubers talk about this, and none of them watch the games. None of them watch sports. None of them are doing anything that makes any sense. And they're like, she should be on the USA team. She should be this. She should be that. And it's like, yo, y'all don't watch anything to know why she's being treated the way that she is. And on top of that, why certain coaches are saying stuff, why certain players are saying stuff, because y'all don't watch anything. And then to sit up here and pretend like all of a sudden they're watching the WNBA, they're watching women's college basketball, they're watching all this stuff, and it's all a lie. The thing about it is that you sit up here and you watch these people and all they do is talk about the stuff that's trend. But let's start from the beginning with Caitlin Clark. Let's start with the Big Ten Conference, okay? For most people who do watch the sports and don't really watch the women's sport, the Big Ten Conference in men's football is pretty good. The Big Ten Conference in men's basketball is pretty good. The Big Ten Conference in women's softball is pretty good. The Big Ten Conference in women's basketball, not so good. And Caitlin Clark just happened to be in the Big Ten when the Big Ten was down. So guess what? She was the only draw for the Big Ten, really. Maryland was down this year. Penn State was down this year. Ohio State was down this year. Michigan was down this year. The women's Big Ten side was not that good. All the players that were really good played in the ACC, the SEC, and the Pac-12. None of them were playing in the Big Ten like that. So then you sit up there and Caitlin Clark goes through the Big Ten. Basically a straight line straight to the national championship. The previous national championship, not the one just recently. That's another thing. But I'll get to that. So now you're facing competition that's not quite as solid because they can't compete against a woman who basically has the green light. Now here you are in a situation where everybody is now promoting this girl, not understanding that the level of competition she's facing is making her look better than she actually is. Boom. She's not playing in a structured system. She just has the green light because guess what? Because most times, guess what happened? Coaches don't want to lose their jobs. They understand that success is important. They understand that, hey, they got to run a system that just makes them successful so they can keep their jobs. We saw this at Baylor years ago with Robert Griffin III. Those type of things just happen, right? So now you take the next step, right? She loses twice in national championships games. She loses to LSU, SEC, and South Carolina, SEC. Understand, she probably wouldn't have made it to the second national championship game if Angel Reese didn't go down in the first quarter last year. Oh, but I wasn't supposed to say that. Right? Now, let's go to the next level. Guess what? She goes to the WNBA. Guess what's in the WNBA? That's right, professionals. So guess what? all the green light that she had in college, that's gone away. Now she has to plan the structure. She has to understand structure. She has to understand taking bad shots. She has to understand that she can't be dribbling the ball all day. Oh, by the way, did anybody talk about how she also leads the WNBA in turnovers? Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Nah, we don't want to talk about that. She leads the WNBA in turnovers. Now, she hasn't been great as a teammate because guess what? In college, she stifled one of her teammates who's now doing fantastically in the WNBA. Now here she is in Indiana. I saw somebody say after the Mystics game, oh, Kelsey Mitchell is now one of my favorite players. I've been an Indiana Fever fan all this time, and Kelsey Mitchell is now one of my favorite players after what she said about Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell is now one of your favorite players as an Indiana Fever fan? The Kelsey Mitchell who was the leading scorer for 5 years in a row for the Indiana Fever, she's now your favorite player? Now one of your favorite players? And you're an Indiana Fever fan? Cut it out. That's a lie. She's not doing well in the WNBA because she hasn't been able to, and nobody's listening to her coach. Her coach told everybody during the preseason that, yo, Caitlin, she's kept saying she didn't say she couldn't play she didn't play instruction. She was using buzzwords. She has to learn more. She has to get better at doing this. She has to understand this. Things are different here. She doesn't have the ability to do certain things that she can. She's not wide open in this league. Her coach was doing everything nice to avoid saying what she ultimately wanted to say, and that was Caitlin Clark wasn't used to playing in structure. She was used to just basically jacking the ball, doing whatever she wanted to do, and basically making mistakes along the way, and just keep on moving forward. The professionals in the WNBA play a little differently. Now here's Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, and she's stifling Kelsey Mitchell, who is a dog when it comes to scoring the ball. Not only that, guess what else happened to Kelsey Mitchell? They started limiting her minutes just so they can help Caitlin Clark look like she's scoring more points on the Indiana Fever, because if they didn't do that, Kelsey Mitchell would be the leading scorer for the Indiana Fever right now. Because she's been the leading scorer for the past 5 years for them. She's been their best player for the past 5 years. That's what she's done. And now she's being stifled because of Caitlin Clark, and they've purposely reduced her minutes, which is why Indiana is so bad right now. The Fever is so bad right now because they took their biggest X factor and reduced her to a supporting role. That's like sitting up there and having Angela Bassett play a supporting role to Lisa Ray. Knowing Angela Bassett is a star. Knowing that. And you put her in that type of role to support somebody who's not as good as her. So, now here we are. We see Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. And the first thing everybody says is, she's being bullied. That's not fair. People are treating her mean. Nobody's treating her mean. That's what happens at the pro level. That's what happens at the pro level. She's an amateur going from having a green light in college, no structure, no system, and just doing whatever she wants, to now being in the WNBA, having structure, seeing defense that she's not seen since the national title games. Now all of a sudden she has to play a little bit better. She has to be a little bit different. And her coach kept saying that, and everybody kept ignoring it. Because Caitlin Clark deserves the participation trophy. Yay! She's a professional now. And she's learning exactly what she should have been learning back in college, is how to play the game correctly. Nobody leads the NBA, the WNBA in turnovers unless they're bad. Not only that, where did all these WNBA fans come from all of a sudden? Now y'all watching the games? Remember they were talking about how bad the basketball was? How they needed to lower the courts to 10 feet so they can dunk. Lower the courts from 10 feet, lower the courts from 10 feet all the way down so they can dunk. Remember that? Remember when everybody was like, it's just bad basketball. It's awful. You can't watch it. And that was just about maybe 4 months ago. 4 or 5 months ago. Everybody was talking about how bad the WNBA was, how it was awful, it was impossible to look at. These women are some of the best shooters around. So Caitlin Clark is going to change all that? Why? Because she jacked threes? She ain't dunking. She ain't even dunking. And everybody's acting like she's the Anthony Edwards of the WNBA, and she isn't even dunking anything. They didn't lower the courts. They didn't do anything. And now she's going up against top-level talent, and the top-level talent is doing doing their jobs. Again, what? Don't play no defense against her. We just want to see her shoot threes. Yay! And then what? The pro coaches sit up there and just do what? What? Lose their jobs? No, they're not going to do that. And why would they do that when they sit up there and know that that's a win that they can get? Because at the end of the day, they know she's going to turn the ball over pretty often. She is going to end up leading the WNBA in turnovers. That she will be the person that will have the record for the most turnovers in a season for a WNBA player. Because she's already at the top of the heap for that. Then on top of that, guess what? What most of y'all don't know is that, guess what? A lot of these women, they don't start actually playing until around mid to late August. And because the Olympics is here, again, they're not going to be playing until around mid to late August. So guess what's going to happen? Caitlin Clark is now going to see the equivalent of the professional NCAA tournament. Because that's what they do. A lot of y'all see Ariel Atkins. Ariel Atkins stays around 13 to about 10 to 13 points a game. But when mid to late August rolls around, Ariel Atkins starts scoring about 20-something and 20. She averages about 20 to 25 points a game. Because she turns it on late to mid-August. That's what she does. Mid to late August, she turns it on. Same thing applies to Diana Taurasi. Diana Taurasi cruises. Next thing you know, mid to late August rolls around, Diana Taurasi turns into all of a sudden a freak of nature, and she's scoring like 20-something points a game. And these are the things y'all have to understand. Now it's time to go to the USA team snub. She wasn't snubbed from the USA team. Again, y'all ain't paying attention. Y'all don't watch the games. Y'all don't watch sports. And all y'all doing is running y'all mouths. She doesn't know how to play in a structured system. She has the most amount of turnovers in for the season in the WNBA. And the season is still pretty young. Not only that, you're talking about she wants to jack threes from anywhere. Do you really think that the USA team wants a person who's prone to turnovers and jacking threes from anywhere on a team where they're trying to win a gold medal? I'm sorry. I guess I sat up there and said too much. One of my subscribers who I absolutely love sat up there and told me, because on one of my videos I said, sometimes I wonder if I'm too honest, if I'm too truthful. And you know what he said? Yeah, you are. Sometimes we just want to, sometimes we just want to be part of the excitement. But then you come in and you give us what we need to hear. Sometimes you give us what we don't want to hear, but we need to hear it. And this is what this is. Y'all need to hear this because y'all need to understand this is not an easy path for her. Let her get better. Let her make all the mistakes she's making because that's only going to make her better. Last but not least, because I'm over this Caitlin Clark thing. Like I said, I wasn't even going to talk about it because I knew it was a nothingness. But again, I watch all the sports. I'm not one of these people who just get on the mic and just start rambling. I'm not one of these people who get on the mic and don't know what I'm talking about. And I just go along with what's the trend. I don't sit up there and do anything. These women are in the WNBA fighting and stuff. The one who should be mad about the USA snub is Arinke, and she's leading the league right now in scoring points. She's leading the league. But guess what? She's also a person that has a green light. And she has the absolute green light. She's just not going to be able to play with a lot of the ones who are on the team that are used to the team play and playing within the structure. But sometimes it's not only about stats. Then I had my neighbor sit up there and ask me, he's like, yo, when did it become racial? It became racial the day Caitlin Clark's fans made it racial. The previous national championship, women's national championship game, Angel Reese did the "you can't see me" in front of Caitlin Clark after they lost, after Iowa lost. Caitlin Clark the entire tournament had been doing "you can't see me" to all those people when they sat up there and lost. Everybody cheered it. All of her fans cheered it. The moment she gets it back, all of a sudden, Angel Reese is this classless black bee, this monkey, this monkey bee, all this type of stuff. And these are adults talking to a young woman who's basically still technically kind of like a child. But they're talking to this young woman like she just did the worst thing in the world by giving Caitlin Clark what she had been giving everybody else. It's okay for her to do it, but now all of a sudden it's bad for somebody else to do it. Her fans, Caitlin Clark's fans, made it racial. Because they didn't have to go after Angel Reese like that. They could have just sat up there and been classy and said, you know what? Caitlin Clark was doing it to everybody else. She lost. And she got what she got in return what she was dishing out. But they didn't do that. They took the classless route and sat up there and made it racial. Then you sit up there and it happens again. She loses in the national title game again. And her fans do it again. They make it racial. Not only did they make it racial, they also made it very sexist because then they talked about it how there were so many gay women on the South Carolina team, which we don't even know that. So that's where it got ugly for everybody because her fans made it ugly because they were classless. Now with everything that I've said, now all y'all have to do is go back and start looking at everything. Actually watch the WNBA games. Watch as Caitlin Clark sits up there and turns the ball over pretty often in the game. Watch how she stifles Kelsey Mitchell, who's a dog. Watch as Kelsey Mitchell goes to the bench a little too early in every game. And then, all of a sudden, then think about what you're really talking about when it comes to this. The WNBA isn't, understand this, everybody's like, well, the WNBA doesn't know what they're doing. They're going to lose. Guess what? These quote-unquote new fans are only here for content. And guess what's going to happen? The exact same thing that's going on now. Everybody says representation doesn't matter until they need the representative. I heard a guy on the radio show one weekend. In fact, Doc Rivers was with him, and he said, my daughter now has a role model in Caitlin Clark. Oh, your daughter didn't have a role model prior to Caitlin Clark in the WNBA? Really? Or is it the fact that your prejudice, you're pushing your prejudice on your child? This Caitlin Clark thing is a nothingness. And when everybody goes back and actually pays attention to the games and pays attention to her lack of ability of being able to actually play in a structured system, and you pay attention to the fact that she played in the Big Ten Conference, which was down when it comes to the women's basketball side, then you'll understand why she's being treated the way that she is. Not only that, she's been talking massive trash in the WNBA. So guess what? Kennedy Carter gave her a little bit of what she was giving out. Because people forget that she pushed Kennedy Carter earlier. No, it wasn't Kennedy. She pushed somebody else earlier. She pushed another player earlier. Oh, but we don't want to talk about that. Nah, we don't want to talk about that. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about what I just said? Some of y'all may agree, some of y'all don't. Tell me what y'all think. Not only that, tell me what y'all think of the Caitlin Clark thing. I just think everybody just is overblowing this, and this is nothing more than a fad thing. And guess what? She's not going to get any better because everybody's trying to give her a fucking participation trophy. Everybody's trying to give her a participation trophy that she doesn't deserve to get. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Other than that, this has been your man, John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.